Hi everyone, this is Sir Christian, and this is our first video lesson for TLE. In this video lesson, I'll discuss what our subject is all about, which is Computer System Servicing, that is part of TLE. I'll also discuss the main topic for Module 1, which is Personal Entrepreneurial Competencies or PECs. So let's start! Our subject is Technology and Livelihood Education, and the component area for the second quarter is Computer Systems Servicing. Now, the Computer Systems Servicing in situ qualification consists of competencies that one must possess to enable to install and configure computer systems, set up computer networks, set up computer servers, and maintain and repair computer systems and networks. However, what we have is an exploratory TLE subject for grade 8. This means you do not earn a certificate of competency or COC or in situ at this stage yet. The exploratory courses are a prelude to earning a COC in grade 9 and an NC1 or NC2 in grade 10. So meaning introduction pa lang ni siya diri nga stage. Wala pa ay COC or NC2 nga makuha dire. In here, or at this stage, we will just be discussing general concepts regarding computer system servicing and will not deal with hands-on training or actual installation and configuring of computer systems. Moreover, this is an entrepreneurship-based subject, which means we relate our lessons to entrepreneurship, or we consider the business point of view when discussing our lessons. Let us now proceed to our Module 1 topic, which is Personal Entrepreneurial Competencies and Skills, or PECs. At the end of the lesson, you, the students, are expected to 1. Assess one's PECs, characteristics, attributes, lifestyle, skills, traits. 2. Assess practitioner specs, characteristics, attributes, lifestyle, skills, and traits. 3. Compare one's specs with that of a practitioner or entrepreneur. And 4. Align one's specs with those of a practitioner or entrepreneurs. Personal Entrepreneurial Competencies or PECs. These refer to the important characteristics that should be possessed by an individual in order to perform entrepreneurial functions effectively. These are also a set of skills that entrepreneurs must possess to take control of the challenges in a business. PECs are the key abilities of entrepreneurs' success in business. So, ang PECs or Personal Entrepreneurial Competencies are characteristics or mga katangian, mga good characteristics or mga magagandang katangian sa usa ka entrepreneur para maging successful siya sa business. Now, this is not discussed in the module, but I want to emphasize the difference between businessman and entrepreneur. Businessman versus entrepreneur. A businessman makes his place in the market with his efforts and dedication, whereas an entrepreneur creates the market for his own business. The businessman is a market player, while entrepreneur is a market leader because he is the first to start such an enterprise. A businessman is someone who sets up a business with an existing idea offering products and services to the customers. An entrepreneur is a person who starts an enterprise with a new idea or concept, undertaking commercial activities. So if we stick with the definition of businessman and entrepreneur, we can say that an entrepreneur is someone who has an original idea and created a business out of this original idea. So sila ni ang mga tao na nag-open og business using an idea or product or service nga wala pa makita sa isa ka lugar or wala sa palibot. Whereas when we say businessman, these are the people engaged in business pero ang business nila is makita sa palibot or naa sa area. For instance, if mag-open kag sari-sari store,
or nag-engage siya sa business, sa sari-sari store. So you are a businessman. But because sari-sari stores are already existing sa inyong lugar, you cannot be called an entrepreneur. That is, if we strictly stick with the definition of businessman and entrepreneur. Mark Zuckerberg is an example of a successful entrepreneur. He is an internet entrepreneur. He created Facebook to address the need of people to connect with their loved ones and friends. There were other social media sites before, like Friendster or MySpace, and also current social media platforms such as Twitter and LinkedIn, but they have limited options and don't have chat box and do not offer video calls. With Facebook, you can post photos, make comments, look through news feeds, create live videos, make an event plan, send messages to friends, ask for recommendations, and buy or sell items. Facebook also tends to have a wider audience than most social media sites. So daghang functions ang Facebook compared sa ubang social media networks. Mark Zuckerberg came up with a social media platform which offers several services and functions that are not found in other social media sites, making it the most popular social media site based on the number of users globally. That's one of the characteristics of an entrepreneur, being innovative. But in the Philippines, we often use the terms businessman and entrepreneur interchangeably. We are not strict in differentiating the two terms. We also call these people as tycoons. So there is a Philippines, when we say entrepreneur and businessman, normally we use the terms interchangeably, meaning wala ta ga care whether we call someone as entrepreneur or businessman. Kay para sa tuwa diri sa Philippines, pareho ra ni ang meaning. So dili ta strict in using the two terms. And two of the most notable entrepreneurs in the Philippines are Henry C. Sr. and John Gokongwei Jr. Since we are talking about PECs or personal entrepreneurial competencies, let us examine the life stories of Henry C. Sr. and John Gokongwei Jr. and take some lessons from their life stories. Let's start with Henry C. Sr. Born in Xiamen, China in November 1924, Henry C. was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Wanting to escape poverty, Henry followed his father to the Philippines, only to experience a miserable youth in a foreign country. C struggled hard living in a foreign country as an immigrant and had to learn the local language. Determined to become successful, he worked hard day and night to provide for his needs. C started out with a small sari-sari store business that helped them in their day-to-day life. C and his father lived in a small space until the fruits of their labor made them successful in the following years. However, when the Philippine economy collapsed in World War II, their store burned down that forced his father to go back to China. Henry C. stayed in the Philippines and built his own shoe business in Marikina. C did not have an overnight success. He enrolled himself to school and was able to graduate college with a degree in commerce from Far Eastern University. C also changed legal names, sold rejected and overrun shoes, plus many other setbacks that he had to face early in his life. He did not give up and pushed through, maybe because he knew that something big, which is what he has now, is about to come. After a series of failures in his business, Henry C. stood back up and persevered to attain his goal. He established a small shoe store in Quiapo, Manila in 1958 named Shoe Mart that eventually marked the establishment of SM Prime Holdings. Now, with three of the most valuable companies in the Philippines, SM Investments Corp. And SM Prime Holdings Inc., valued at over 1 trillion pesos each, and BDO Unibank, valued at around 635 million pesos, he has become the richest man in the country since 2005 until his death on January 19, 2019, and ranked 52nd in the Forbes World Billionaires list of 2018. When he died, his net worth was estimated at 19 billion US dollars. Henry C. believes that there is no such thing as overnight success or easy money. With his inspiring story, one can learn about the ideals of success. Henry C. tells us not to give up on our dreams, no matter how far-fetched it seems. Now, let's hear John Gokongwei Jr.'s story. John Gokongwei Jr. was once a scion of a wealthy Filipino-Chinese clan. He was born with a silver spoon. He was studying in one of Cebu's premier schools, San Carlos University, and their family was known to be one of the richest in Cebu. So when we say scion, it refers to a young member of a family that is known to be wealthy, powerful, or otherwise important, such as a prince, heirs, or the children of, let's say, the president. Sa mga tagapagmana na mga mayayaman, mga influential people. That's the meaning of scion. So to continue, unfortunately, one day, all the things that Gokongwei or John Gokongwei Jr. enjoyed were taken away from him when his father died. The creditors seized their home and cars. Their business were gone, and suddenly everything he had disappeared. He became flat broke. So nalugi sila na wala tanan ang naa nila nga kayamanan. At age 15, Gokongwei Jr. had to work to provide for his family. His mother had to sell her jewelries. His siblings were sent to China, where the cost of living was cheaper. He sold roasted peanuts and opened up a small stall in the market, where he had to compete with other vendors to sell his goods. He sold soap, candles, and threads to earn money. Determined as he was, Gokongwei Jr. knew he had an advantage as he was younger, therefore he used this as a strength in his job. It was in 1943 when John Robinson Lim Gokongwei Jr. began trading goods from Cebu to Manila. When the World War II ended, he saw this as an opportunity to trade goods in the Philippines. He put up Asia Trading with his brother, which helped bring back his siblings home to help out with the business. He then went on to pursue other business ventures, from cornstarch manufacturing to food production to purchasing shares in San Miguel Corporation, the then leading business in the 70s. He had a vision to make every Filipino fly, thus the creation of the low-cost carrier, Cebu Pacific. In 2003, he established a mobile company. In 2004, he introduced C2 Beverage and all that comprised Gokongwei Jr.'s empire, the JG Summit Holdings. It didn't always go smoothly. In between this success came failure. He had a hard time to get a loan, but fortunately, one bank trusted him. He started getting recognized at the business scene, but before that, he had to fight for a position. His loss and failures were broadcasted, but still he succeeded and is now considered as a key player when it comes to the powerful business sector. John Gokongwei Jr. was the second richest Filipino in 2018, behind Henry C. Sr., and the third richest in 2019. He died in November 9, 2019. Aside from being a business magnate, he is also a philanthropist. When we say philanthropist, it is a person who seeks to promote the welfare of others, especially by the generous donation of money to good causes. So, philanthropist yung kuan ka ng mapagkawang gawa. Usually mga kuan sila, influential or mga wealthy people, mga mayayaman na mga gadonate para sa kayuhan sa ubang mga tao, especially sa mga less fortunate or mga pobre. Mahilig sila mag-reach out or maghatag o mga hinabang without asking anything in return. With his story, John Gokongwei Jr. hopes to inspire people to have the determination to bounce back in life without ever quitting. So after learning the life stories of two of the most notable entrepreneurs in the Philippines, let us now check some of the characteristics or traits or attributes of a good entrepreneur. We have first, hardworking. This means working diligently and being consistent about it. Hardworking people keep improving their performance to produce good products and or provide good services. So hardworking, masipag. Then we also have confident. Entrepreneurs have self-reliance in one's ability and judgment. They exhibit self-confidence to cope with the risks of operating their own business. So may diwala sa sarili. Then, disciplined. Successful entrepreneurs always stick to the plan and fight the temptation to do what is unimportant. Discipline, may disiplina. Committed. Good entrepreneurs assume full responsibility over their business. They give full commitment and solid dedication to make the business successful. Ability to accept change. When you own a business, you should cope with and thrive on changes. Capitalize on positive changes to make your business grow. So, dapat kabalo ka mo adjust or kabalo ka mo accept og mga changes. Say, for instance, nowadays, important ang online presence, especially kay popular ang social media sites like Facebook. So, kung may business ka, it is very important nga visible ka sa Facebook or na kay Facebook page para dali makita sa mga tao or sa mga potential customers ang imong business and they can check your menus or sa mga gina-offer nga products or services. And then dali ka makita sa daghang mga tao or makontak nila via your Facebook page. Creative. An entrepreneur should be creative and innovative to stay in the business and in order to have an edge over the other competitors. So dapat naa kay products or services nga i-offer nga iba or lahi sa uban nga dili makita sa uban nga unique ra gyud nimo. I'll give a personal example. Me and my wife has a business called Maricris Sanggipsal. And we take pride to say nga in the whole province of Siquijor, kami ra ang ga-offer og authentic Korean food. That's why naami competitive advantage compared sa other restaurant or food service providers. And because of this, we have been featured sa Balitang Bisdak.
This is your GMA Regional TV, kapuso ng bawat Pilipino.
Lalawigan sa Siquijor ani ay tagalazi nga magtiayong mahiligon sa Korean cuisine nga nahimong patok sa panlasang Pinoy. Sila si Christian ug Marie Chris Duran nga nagtanyag og Korean food nga samgyupsal dili lang sa lalawigan apan sa kasigbit usab nga mga lalawigan sa Central Visayas. Made to order ang ilang paagi. Unya ihatod sa magtiayon sa panimay sa mo-order aron sila na ang muluto. Mato ni Christian nga sila lang ang nagbinugtog nga nagtanyag og authentic Korean Korean food sa lalawigan. Usa si Don Irene K. Largo kawani sa kagamhanan nga nakauyon sa samgyupsal sa magtiayong Duran.
Ang inyong balita, ang among balita kay matag lokal nga balita mahinungdanon. Kining inyong GMA Regional TV Balitang Bisdak, buong puso para sa Pilipino. Ako si Bambi Nalsaro. Og mayong hapon mga kapuso.
Has the initiative. An entrepreneur takes the initiative. You must put yourself in position where you are responsible for the failure or success of your business. So, naa ka oy initiative or let's say na kay baruganan nga ikaw ang moako sa responsibilidad para ang imong nga business mulambo or bisan kung mo fail man or ang imong business dili maging successful na kay baruganan gyapon nga himuon ang tanan para mabawi or para maging successful later on. So ang responsibilidad para makabawi ang mga business dili nimo ipasa sa uban. Imong giako ni nga responsibilidad kay naa ka oy initiative. Profit oriented. An entrepreneur enters the world of business to generate profit or additional income. The business shall become your bread and butter. Therefore, you must see to it that the business can generate income. So, kay sulod man ka sa business, dapat maka-generate og income iyong nga business or ginansya. Kay useless man nga mugasto ka para maputap og business, then at the end of the day, imo ra di ang biyaan or let's say undangan ra nimo. So, nahurot na yung mga kwarta. So, it's useless. So, dapat once you enter a business, dapat isipon nimo og unsaon nimo dako sa imong nga kita or saan nimo pagpalambo sa imong nga business nga magdugay gid siya og makaginansya ka. Excellent planner. Planning involves strategic thinking and goal setting to achieve objectives by carefully examining all the available resources. A good entrepreneur develops and follows the steps in the plans diligently to realize goals. And we have possesses people skills. People skills refer to effective and efficient communication and establishing good relationship to the people working in and out of your business. In day-to-day business transactions, you need to deal with people. A well-developed interpersonal skill can make a huge difference between success and failure of the business. So dapat as an entrepreneur, you possess people skills. So dapat magaling kang makihalubilo sa iba't ibang uri ng mga tao. Kaya ang ibang mga tao, kaya ang kada tao unique. So iba-iba ang katangian and characteristics. So dapat kabalo ka mo adjust and makibagay sa mga tao nga imo nga nakakasalamuha. Then you also have sound decision maker. Successful entrepreneurs have the ability to think quickly and to make wise decisions towards a predetermined set of objectives. Sound decisions should be based on given facts and information and lead towards the predetermined objectives. So dapat maayo ka mo way sa mga things para maka-decide ka. So dapat dira ka magpatuga-tuga og decision nga out of impulse. Say for instance, if you are kuan ba ka nang mainit ang mga ulo, kinahanglan dili ka dayon mo decide pag ingana nga mga situation. Dapat i-clear sa nimo imong mind, dapat balance ka, maminaw ka sa left and right nga opinion sa mga tao and imo nga timbangon ang kada iyang opinion or kada iyang options imong lantawon before ka mo decide og unsa gyud ang best nga solution. For instance, isa ka problem or unsa ang best nga pamaagi para ma-solve ang usa ka problem. Nga na siya, dapat sound decision maker ka. So after discussing the main lesson, let's check the actual contents of the module. So this is the module for computer system servicing. This is module 1, second quarter. So let's skip the introductory parts. Let's move forward to what's more. Okay, ato na discuss ang main lesson mo diretso ta diri sa what's more. So what's more, independent activity 1 in directions 3 is using the text checklist. Assess yourself by indicating a check mark in either strengths or development areas column. So may mga list diri sa competencies of an entrepreneur. So this is just more on the reflection na ang list diri sa competencies of an entrepreneur, you put a check mark if ever makita mo sila sa self mo or you consider them as your strengths. And if ever these competencies wala sa self mo or you need to improve in these competencies, so you will put check mark sa development needs. Depende lang sa imong reflection kung ano ang pag-assess mo sa imong self. So, yan na siya sa yun. And then, dependent assessment 1, ang directions is interpret the results by counting the total number of check marks in each of the columns. Answer the following questions below. Write your answers in your notebook. Reflection naman. So, it depends on how you express your opinion or defend your answer. Sa independent activity 2 naman, think of a person you know or a person in your community who becomes successful of being a good computer technician. And then answer the following questions. Write your answers in your notebook. What characteristics does he possess that makes him successful? What will you do to succeed in the same field as? So, kung mga question na depende sa imong i-interview. Nag-interview ka sa someone, you interviewed someone who is successful of being a good computer technician. So, kung may interview ka, mga question sa there is independent assessment tool is para ma-compare mo ang imong self sa successful computer technician and ano ang mga himuon mo para when it comes para in the future ma-emulate nimo or imong sina ang mga things na giobras na gihimo sa successful computer technician para maging successful siya. Nga siya para makakuha ka lesson niya this interview. Then what I can do? Answer each question or situation correctly and briefly do it in the notebook. Ano siya, again, situational siya. So, may situation na natag. Say for instance, number 1B. Mr. X is a successful computer technician in his locality is known as an expert. However, as time passes by, the number of known computer technicians in his place increases. Considering the situation, he uses various marketing strategies in order to attract more customers. What characteristic of a good entrepreneur does he apply? O base sa mga characteristics sa good entrepreneur yung ato na-discuss, unsa ang best nga maka-describe sa ikani nga situation. Say for instance, kay huna-huna si Mr. X or nag-implement sa various marketing strategies, pwede na ito sa maingon na he is innovative. Then, i-defend mo ang answer. Nga na ba? Then, question number 2, nga na po, parang reflection based on the topic that we have discussed and then defend your answer. So, ang importante lang is ma-defend mo ang mga answer and organize ang mga pag-present sa mga opinion or sa mga information. And then we have here post-test for assessment. Directions. Write true if the statement is correct and false if it is incorrect. So, true or false ni ang sa part A sa post-test. Sa part B, directions, column A consists the characteristics and skills of an entrepreneur, while column B tells their definitions. Match the characteristics with their definition by writing the letter of the correct answer. Do this in your notebook. So, matching type. So, base sa atong na-discuss and base sa mga pagbasa sa module, unsa ba ang description diri sa letter A or unsa ang appropriate description na nag-match sa letter A. Say for instance, self-confidence sa number 3B, for instance, self-confidence. Unsa sa letter B ang describe sa characteristic ng self-confidence. So number 1, planner. Unsa diri sa letter B ang best na maka-describe sa characteristic ng planner. Nga na, ha? So there you go. That's Module 1 for Computer System Servicing, which is Personal Entrepreneurial Competencies. That's it for Module 1.